You've been waiting for something that never seems to come. Not a grand gesture, not fireworks, not even a love letter. You've been waiting for something much simpler, a feeling. The kind of feeling that makes you say, yes, I am loved, I am seen, I matter to them. But the truth is, you don't always feel that way. You can be in a relationship. You can even know deep down that this person loves you, and still lie awake at night asking yourself, why doesn't it feel like love? It's confusing, isn't it? To have someone in your life who claims they care, who maybe even shows up in their own way, but somehow you're left empty. You start wondering if they've changed, if they've stopped caring, or if love has quietly faded. And a part of you aches because you don't want to lose them, but you also can't keep living in this silent hunger. What if I told you that it's not always a lack of love, but a lack of translation? What if the love you crave isn't missing? It's just arriving in a language you haven't been taught to recognize. Think about it. Imagine someone writes you the most beautiful letter in the world, but in a language you can't read. To them, they've poured out their heart. To you, it looks like scribbles on a page. You'd miss the depth, the care, the devotion, not because it wasn't there, but because you couldn't understand it. That's what happens in so many relationships. Love is present, but it's not always recognizable. And when love feels invisible, we suffer. You've probably had moments where you look at your partner and think, if you really loved me, wouldn't you know what I need? Wouldn't you just do it? That question has ended so many relationships. Not because love wasn't real, but because love wasn't shown in the way it needed to be. Maybe for you, love looks like words. Someone telling you, I appreciate you, I'm proud of you, I love you. But your partner's version of love might look like fixing the car, or paying the bills, or making sure the door is locked before bed. To them, that's care. That's devotion. But to you, it might feel like routine, not romance. And here's where the pain begins. When your need and their expression don't align, both of you can end up feeling unappreciated. You think, they don't love me. They think, I'm giving everything I can, and it's still not enough. Two people, both trying, both hurting, both misunderstood. I want you to pause for a moment and ask yourself, have you ever dismissed someone's effort because it didn't look the way you imagined love should look? Maybe you wanted flowers, but they gave you their time. Maybe you wanted their attention, but they gave you stability. Maybe you wanted them to listen, but they gave you solutions. This is where relationships either break or deepen, because if you can't recognize the love that's being offered, you'll keep starving even when you're being. But if you can learn to see it, if you can teach each other the languages of your hearts, then suddenly what once felt invisible becomes undeniable. And here's the powerful truth. Love is not just about how it feels to you, it's also about how it feels to them. Love isn't one size fits all. It's personal. It's shaped by history, by culture, by childhood, by wounds and hopes. If you've ever wondered why your partner doesn't love you the way you need, it might not be because they don't care. It might be because they've never been taught how. Think about your own upbringing. How did the people in your life show you love? Maybe it was through providing for you. Maybe it was through physical affection. Maybe it was through encouragement. Maybe it was through sacrifice. Whatever it was, it trained you to recognize love in a certain form. So when someone comes along and expresses it differently, it can feel foreign. And what's foreign often feels like absence, even when it's not. The beauty of relationships is that they are classrooms of the heart. You're not just loved in them, you learn how to love better. You learn patience. You learn understanding. You learn that love isn't always obvious, but it's always there waiting to be uncovered. But here's the tension. If you don't learn this lesson, the relationship becomes a battlefield of unmet needs. You'll keep repeating the same fight. You don't love me the way I need. And they'll keep repeating the same defense. I am loving you, you just don't see it. That cycle will eat away at the bond until both of you feel like strangers. And that's why you're here right now, listen, because some part of you knows this cycle is happening, or could happen in your life. You've felt the ache of not being seen, And maybe you've also felt the frustration of not being understood. You don't want to lose the connection, but you also don't want to settle for a version of love that leaves you empty. So let me tell you this. You don't have to. Love is not meant to be a guessing game. It's meant to be a conversation. And the moment you decide to have that conversation, to decode your partner's love language and share your own, everything shifts. Imagine for a second how it would feel if you stopped doubting. If you could look at their actions and see clearly, this is love, this is care, this is for me. Imagine if they could look at you and finally feel, I'm enough, I'm understood. I don't have to keep trying and failing. We get each other now. That's the power waiting for you. And it begins with recognition. Recognition is like light in a dark room. The love may have always been there, but until the light is switched on, you can't see it. Once it's illuminated, you wonder how you ever missed it. And here's the truth you need to hold on to. Love is rarely absent, but it is often misinterpreted. People don't always love you the way you dream of, but they love you the way they know how. And if you're willing to understand their way and teach them yours, then love becomes something deeper, not just a feeling, but a language spoken fluently between two hearts. Because here's what you already know deep down. You don't want a love that's perfect in theory. You want a love that's alive in practice. You want to wake up every day knowing that even if it doesn't look like the movies, it looks like devotion, it feels like safety, it sounds like encouragement, it touches your soul. And that's why we're diving into this. Because love that goes unrecognized eventually feels like no love at all. And you deserve to feel it. You deserve to recognize it. You deserve to experience the fullness of it, not just the fragment. So right now, as you're sitting here listening, I want you to let yourself admit it. Yes, I've questioned love. Yes, I've wondered if it's real. Yes, I've longed to feel it more deeply. And at the same time, let yourself imagine the possibility that it's already closer than you think, that it might already be present, hidden in the gestures you've overlooked, waiting for you to see it differently. Because love, real love, doesn't just disappear. Sometimes, it just speaks a language we haven't learned yet. Think back to the last time you felt unseen. Maybe you had a tough day, and all you wanted was for your partner to sit down, look into your eyes, and ask, "Are you okay?" But instead, they noticed the dishes in the sink, and quietly cleaned the whole kitchen. They thought they were easing your burden. You thought they were avoiding your pain. Do you see the heartbreak hidden in that moment? Both of you were giving and wanting at the same time. But because the languages didn't match, neither of you walked away feeling understood. This is the silent fracture that happens in so many relationships. Not through betrayal, not through neglect, but through misalignment. And over time, those fractures build walls. You start feeling like roommates instead of partners, like two people living parallel lives instead of a shared one. And the most dangerous thought creeps in. Maybe they just don't care enough. But here's the paradox. What if the very thing you call neglect is actually effort in disguise? What if the way they love you is just different? Let's talk about these differences, because when you understand them, the tension begins to ease. Suddenly the moments you once saw as cold or careless begin to look like devotion. Suddenly your story shifts from "they don't love me" to "they love me differently." One of the most common ways this shows up is in words. Maybe you're someone who feels most alive when you hear "I'm proud of you, I love you, you're important to me." Words carry weight for you. They remind you that you matter. But your partner, maybe they grew up in a family where love wasn't spoken out loud. It was shown in action. So when they fix something in the house, or make sure your phone is charged before you leave, that is their "I love you." But because they don't say it, you feel unloved. On the other hand, maybe your partner longs for physical touch. A hug when they come home, a hand on their back when they're tired, a kiss before bed. To them, touch equals connection. But if that's not natural for you, you might overlook it. You might think, "We're fine, we don't need constant affection." And without realizing it, you leave them starving for closeness. Or maybe it's time. Some people need undistracted, uninterrupted presence. sitting on the couch together, walking without your phone, having dinner without multitasking. But if your love is expressed in gifts or favors, you might think buying them something special covers it. To you, that's generosity. To them, it feels like substitution. Do you see the pattern here? It's not absence, it's mismatch. And here's where the magic begins. When you realize love has dialects. Just like language, some of us are fluent in one, while others are fluent in another. And if you never learn to translate, you'll keep missing each other even when your hearts are trying to meet. Now, I want you to take a deep breath and really think, which form of love makes you feel most secure? Is it when someone tells you with words? Is it when they touch you? Is it when they give you their full attention? Is it when they help you with tasks? Or when they give you thoughtful gifts? Don't overthink it. Notice what lights you up, what makes you exhale with relief, what makes you say, yes, that's love. That is your primary language. And once you know yours, you can begin teaching it, not in accusation, but in clarity. Because here's what often goes wrong. Instead of teaching, we demand. Instead of explaining, we accuse. We say things like, you never listen, you never hug me, you never appreciate me. And when your partner hears those words, what they actually hear is, everything you do doesn't matter. That cuts deep. Because from their perspective, they've been loving you all along. So what's the alternative? The alternative is to shift the conversation from blame to guidance. From you don't love me, to here's how I feel most loved. Imagine how differently your partner would respond if instead of, you never say nice things to me, you said, when you tell me I'm doing a good job, I feel so close to you. It fills me in a way nothing else does. See the shift? Same need, but instead of a complaint, it's an invitation. And when love feels like an invitation, most people are willing to step into it. But here's the other side. And this is the part most of us forget. You also need to learn their language. Because love can't just flow one way. It's not enough to only say, I want you to love me like this. You also have to ask, how do you feel most loved? And that question can change everything. Sometimes the person you thought was distant is actually desperate for touch. Sometimes the person you thought was careless just needs words. Sometimes the person you thought didn't value you is craving quality time. The moment you discover their language, you realize they weren't withholding love, they were waiting for it in their own way. And suddenly the wall between you starts to crack. Now I know what you might be thinking, but shouldn't they just know? Shouldn't love come naturally without me having to explain it? Let me be real with you. Love is natural, but expression is learned. Think about it, you weren't born knowing how to read or write. And now you can communicate ideas, feelings, entire worlds through words. Love works the same way. The feeling may come naturally, but the expression takes intention, practice, and sometimes correction. So if you've been waiting for your partner to just get it, you may be waiting forever. But if you take a breath, sit down, and have the courage to teach and to listen, you'll stop waiting and start building. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine a couple where one partner is exhausted because they do everything around the house. They think, why can't my partner see how much I do? Why can't they just help me? Meanwhile, the other partner spends hours planning dates and buying thoughtful gifts, thinking, why can't my partner see how much I care? Both are giving, both are tired, both are unappreciated. But once they sit down and actually exchange languages, suddenly everything changes. The one who values acts of service begins to notice the effort behind the gifts. The one who values gifts begins to see the devotion behind the chores. And now instead of resentment, they begin to thank each other. That gratitude reignites connection. This isn't theory, this is real life. This is what happens when two people stop assuming and start translating. So here's what I want you to hold on to. Unrecognized love is the greatest tragedy of relationships. Not the absence of love, the failure to see it. And recognition begins when you're willing to step out of your own lens and into theirs. Love is not about what makes sense to you, it's about what makes sense to them. And when both of you are willing to bridge that gap, love doesn't just survive, it thrives. Because here's the truth. People rarely fall out of love. They fall out of understanding. They stop feeling seen. They stop feeling that their giving matters. They stop believing their efforts are enough. But that doesn't have to be your story. You can choose differently. You can choose to ask instead of assume. You can choose to recognize instead of dismiss. You can choose to love in a way that isn't just comfortable for you but meaningful for them. And when you do, the shift is almost immediate. Suddenly arguments soften, walls lower, and moments of disconnection turn into moments of intimacy. Suddenly you're not questioning, do they love me? Instead, you're realizing, they've been loving me all along. I just needed to see it. And that realization doesn't just heal your relationship, it heals you. Because it reminds you that love isn't fragile. Love is resilient. Love doesn't disappear just because it wasn't recognized. It waits. It waits for you to look again, to listen differently, to translate, to open. So the next time you feel unseen, I want you to pause before you judge. Pause before you assume absence. Ask yourself, could this be love in disguise? Could this be their way of showing up for me, even if it's not mine? And if it is, let yourself receive it. Because the more you receive, the more space you create to give. And when both of you are receiving and giving in ways that matter, that's when love stops being a question and starts being a certainty. Because in the end, love is not about proving, it's about perceiving. It's not about asking, do they love me? It's about learning, how are they loving me? And once you can answer that, everything changes. You know the moment when the same argument keeps looping. It always starts small. Maybe you ask for something simple, a little attention, a little reassurance, a little help, and they respond in a way that doesn't land. You feel brushed aside, they feel attacked. Before you know it, you're both defending yourselves, instead of understanding each other. It's exhausting, isn't it? Because deep down, you're not fighting about dishes, or texts, or who forgot what. You're fighting about love. You're fighting about whether it's real, whether it matters, whether you're enough for each other. And the tragedy is, the love itself is often there. It's the recognition that's missing. So how do you change that? How do you stop repeating the same patterns and start creating a different story? It begins with teaching, but not the kind of teaching that feels like scolding or correcting. Not the kind that makes your partner feel like they're failing you. Real teaching, in love, feels more like opening a door than pointing out a flaw. Think about it like this. If you were teaching a child how to read, you wouldn't shame them for not knowing the alphabet yet. You wouldn't say, how could you not know this? You'd meet them with patience. You'd celebrate the small wins. You'd guide them step by step until the letters formed into words. That's exactly how you need to approach teaching your partner your love language. Because here's the truth. No one arrives in a relationship fully fluent in how to love you. They arrive fluent in how they've been taught. And unless you're willing to show them another way, they'll keep defaulting to what they know. So how do you do it? You start by softening the delivery. Instead of saying, you never do this for me, try saying, when you do this, it makes me feel loved. Notice the difference. One creates defensiveness. The other creates direction. One pushes them away. The other invites them closer. Then you give example, not vague requests, like I just need more attention, but specific moments they can act on. When you sit with me after work, even for 10 minutes without your phone, it fills me. When you tell me I'm proud of you, it lifts me for day. When you hug me before we leave the house, I feel safe all day. These specifics give them a roadmap. And when they follow it, they start to see results. Not just in you, but in the relationship itself. They see the way your eyes light up, the way tension dissolves, the way connection grows. That reward reinforces the behavior. Love begins to flow more naturally, not because you demanded it, but because you taught it. But here's the part that often gets overlooked. You have to be willing to learn too. Because it's not just about them learning your language, it's about you learning theirs. And sometimes, that requires you to stretch outside your comfort zone. Maybe words of affirmation feel awkward to you. But if that's what your partner craves, it's worth practicing. Maybe touch doesn't come naturally. But if that's how they connect, it's worth reaching for their hand. Maybe you'd rather give gifts, but they'd rather have your time, so you rearrange your schedule to be fully present. At first, it feels unnatural. But isn't that true with any new skill? The first time you tried to ride a bike, it felt clumsy. The first time you learned a new language, it felt forced. But the more you practiced, the more fluent you became. Love is no different. It requires practice. And practice turns effort into ease. Now, I know what you might be asking. But what if they don't respond? What if I keep giving and teaching and they don't meet me half? That's a fair fear. And the answer lies in boundaries. Because love is not about losing yourself in someone else's unwillingness. Love is about offering clarity, consistency, and care. And then noticing how they respond. If you've taught, if you've invited, if you've shown them exactly how to love you, and they still choose not to, that's not misalignment anymore. That's neglect. That's avoidance. That's a choice on their part. But don't assume neglect until you've given clarity. Too many relationships end prematurely, not because love wasn't possible, but because patience wasn't practiced. Sometimes people truly don't know. And when they finally see clearly what you need, they rise. And here's the beauty. When both people rise, even in small ways, the relationship transforms. Picture this. You tell your partner, "When you send me a message during the day, I feel thought of." So they start doing it. Just one text. Nothing grand. And you respond with gratitude instead of criticism. Suddenly, what once felt impossible, being thought of during the day, becomes normal. Or imagine your partner tells you, "When you sit with me and watch a show without scrolling, I feel close to you." And you start doing it, even if for just half an hour. Suddenly, their sense of connection deepens. These are small acts. Tiny, really. But love doesn't usually change in dramatic gesture. It changes in subtle shifts, consistent over time, until the relationship you once questioned becomes the relationship you trust. And here's something powerful. When you both begin to learn each other's languages, conflict itself changes. Arguments don't disappear. No relationship is free of tension. But the fights become less about survival and more about understanding. Instead of, "You never loved me the right way," it becomes, "I'm missing this today. Can we try this instead?" That shift takes the fight out of the argument and replaces it with teamwork. Because at the heart of every conflict is this question: do you see me? Do I matter to you? And when love languages are learned, the answer becomes obvious. Yes, I see you. Yes, you matter. Even in disagreement, that truth anchors you. And here's the most profound change of all. You begin to feel safe. Safe that love won't disappear overnight. Safe that even when you stumble, the other person will try again. Safe that your needs aren't a burden but a bridge. That safety is what keeps relationships alive, even through storms. So I want you to really picture it. Picture yourself months from now, sitting with your partner, no longer wondering if they love you but knowing it. Picture them feeling the same. No more constant questioning. No more guessing. No more starvation in the middle of abundance. Just clarity. Just connection. Just love. Spoken in ways both of you can understand. And the truth is, that's possible. Not someday, not in some perfect relationship you don't have yet, but here now, with the person beside you, if both of you are willing to learn. Because love is not just a feeling that comes and goes, it's a practice, a language, a skill you sharpen together. And once you see it that way, the fear of losing it starts to fade. Because skills can be learned, languages can be mastered, and love, when cared for, can. So stop asking yourself if love is there. Start asking yourself how it's being expressed. Stop waiting for it to magically appear in the form you dream of. Start noticing the forms it already takes. And when you can do that, when you can both give and receive in ways that matter, you'll realize something incredible. They always loved you. You just needed to learn how to see it. There's something you rarely admit to yourself. It's the fear that maybe you're not lovable enough. That maybe the reason you don't feel loved is because something is missing in you. Not just in them. That quiet voice that says, if I were easier, if I were better, if I were more worthy, love wouldn't feel this hard. But let me tell you something, that voice doesn't want you to hear. Your worth is not measured by how others express their love. Your worth is not negotiable. It doesn't rise and fall with how much attention, touch or affirmation you get. You are already worthy. You are already enough. Love doesn't create your value, it reflects it. And that's why this journey matters so much. Because when love goes unrecognized, it doesn't just strain relationships. It stains the way you see yourself. It makes you question your value. It makes you believe lies about your worth. And slowly, you begin to shrink. But when love is recognized, when it's translated, when it's seen clearly, something powerful happens. Not only do you feel secure in your relationship, you feel secure in yourself. You realize, I was never unworthy. I was just waiting for translation. Think of it like sunlight behind a cloud. The light was always there. You just couldn't feel its warmth, because something was in the way. When you and your partner begin to understand each other's languages, the clouds move, and suddenly, what felt cold becomes warm, what felt dim becomes radiant. And here's the truth, every single person who loves you will love you differently. Your partner, your parents, your friends, none of them will express it in exactly the same way. If you only ever measure love by your own preferred language, you'll miss out on the dozens of ways love is already surrounding you. So yes, it's about teaching your partner, but it's also about retraining your eye. It's about looking at the people in your life and asking, what if this is love too? What if their effort, their presence, their sacrifice is love, even if it doesn't look like mine? When you do that, you stop living in starvation. You start living in abundance, because suddenly love is everywhere. In the person who checks if you've eaten, in the friend who remembers your birthday, in the parent who worries if you've made it home safe, in the partner who locks the doors at night without being asked. It doesn't mean you stop asking for your need. It doesn't mean you settle for less. It means you see more. It means you widen your lens. So instead of missing love, you collect it. And the more you collect, the more you have to give back. Because here's the most beautiful part of love. It multiplies when recognized. When you acknowledge their effort, they want to give more. When they acknowledge yours, you feel inspired to give more. That cycle of appreciation fuels a relationship far more than demands ever could. So imagine this future. You're sitting across from your partner, and instead of silently wishing they would notice you, you actually feel noticed. Instead of wondering if their small actions mean anything, you recognize them as declarations of love. Instead of arguing about neglect, you're celebrating connection. The energy in the room shifts. The air feels lighter. The distance you once felt collapses into closeness. That future is not a fantasy. It's a practice. It's built in every small choice to recognize, to appreciate, to teach, to listen. Every day becomes an opportunity to either widen the gap or close it. And now you know how to close it. But I want you to take this one step further, because this isn't only about how others love you, it's about how you love yourself. Ask yourself honestly, have you been withholding love from yourself because it didn't look a certain way? Maybe you don't affirm yourself with kind words. Maybe you don't give yourself time to rest. Maybe you've dismissed your own efforts as not enough. And maybe that's why it feels so hard to receive love from others, because you haven't learned to recognize it within yourself first. The way you speak to yourself, the way you care for yourself, the way you acknowledge your own efforts, that sets the standard for how you allow others to love you. When you start practicing love in your own language, you not only feel fuller, but you also give others a model to follow. So here's the challenge. Don't just wait for your partner to learn your language. Start speaking it to yourself. Tell yourself what you need to hear. Give yourself the rest you crave. Celebrate your own wins. Hold yourself with the affection you desire. Because when you do, you stop approaching relationships from emptiness. You approach them from overflow. And when two people who are already full come together, their love doesn't cling or demand, it expands. It becomes bigger than both of you. It becomes something you can share with the world. That's the love you deserve. A love that's alive, fluent, overflowing. A love that doesn't just whisper, "I care," but shows it in 1,000 little ways. A love that no longer leaves you questioning, but finally allows you to rest in certainty. So today, choose to see differently. Choose to translate instead of doubt. Choose to teach instead of accuse. Choose to open instead of close. Because when you make that choice, you don't just save your relationship. You save yourself from the slow erosion of feeling unseen. And one day, you'll look back and realize, they always loved you. You just had to learn how to notice it. And once you did, love stopped being a mystery and became a language you could both speak fluently, every single day. That's when you finally understand. Love doesn't disappear when it feels unrecognizable. It only waits patiently for the moment you're ready to see it. And when you do, it changes everything.